Today's video is going to be my favorite commander deck, Strefan, the progenitor from the Crimson Vow commander set. I think he was the face commander of that. And the purpose is you sacrifice blood tokens and you can cheat a creature into the field with haste and everything like that. It's indestructible as well, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about it dying in this combat. So you cheat it in, you go to combat. Got a cool little coffin deck box. You fit your D20s. You can fit 100 double sleeved cards, a commander deck, 100 double sleeved, plus tokens, plus your slot ins and everything, your unofficial sideboard, and even chick dice, mecha dice. But then, so this video will be one of four. We'll start with the creatures, and then part 2 will be artifacts, enchantments, part 3 instant sorceries, part 4 and final lands in the deck. Heads up, there are a few proxies in the deck as placeholders because some of my other decks have the original in it, and I need to go track down one to take the proxy place. But I like to play in casual games with this. I would say it's a 3, maybe a 4. It's not incredibly fine-tuned. There's definitely game changers in it. It does its thing. It wins a lot of the time. But it's not completely fine-tuned and perfect. It's not fine edge, so definitely not CDH or anything like that. The commander isn't even looked at like that. But anyway, it's a fun deck, a nice Rakdos vampire tribal deck, or kindred, if you will. So starting off with the creatures, the first is going to be Vampire Nighthawk, of course, flying, death touch, lifelink. It's only a 3-drop, and a lot of these creatures are going to be higher mana cost, higher CMC, because I can cheat them out. I don't have to spend mana when I'm sacking the blood tokens. But great card. Great body, easy sack outlet. I'm not going to miss it. Next one, Drana, Liberator of Malachor. Another low cost, but flying, first strike. Whenever it deals combat damage, all of my attacking creatures get 1/1 counters. So I'm buffing them up at every combat. And I'm swinging all the time. This is a combat-driven deck. Next one, Rodolph, Dustbringer, flying, death touch, lifelink. A lot of the vampires in this deck are gonna have flying, the evasion in it. That's part of the goal. There's you want to swing over everybody. And I know you see the white-black pip there, but this commander set and whatever. Next, you got Patron of the Vein, one everybody hates. Flying, whenever Patron of the Vein enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls, and then whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it and put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. Next one, you got Zagras, Thief of the Heartbeats. That's right. I almost said Heart's Bane for some reason. He has the party thing. You'll cost less for each creature in your party. I think there's a full party in the deck. I can't remember for certain. But in either case, I'm not worrying about that first line anyway. I care more about, the flying, death touch, haste. And then other creatures I control have death touch, which I care a lot about, because when I'm playing this, a lot of others are playing other flying creatures. When I'm against them, dragons, stuff like that, even fairies. And then Dracula, Lord of Blood, which I love the art. And there was another one too with a similar art that was just a pet card, but it wasn't doing enough. So I had to pull it out. So I kept this Dracula in because this is a fun card. Next, you have Defiant Bloodlord. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So you want to loop some of these life gains and life losses. And there are infinite life gain, life loss combos in here as win cons. And, I'm pinging myself constantly with this deck, as you'll see as I get through enchantments and some of these other creatures. So I need to be able to gain that life back and also hurt people when they're gaining, or with my life gain. Flying Ward, sack a creature. This is a newer one I put in when it came out in this set. I pulled out, I can't remember what I pulled out, but whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life, and I gain 2 life. So once I'm gaining the life, someone else is losing the life, and bam, 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 bam. It just repeats. Oops. Right here, Nighthawk Scavenger. For me, it's kind of similar to this card, which is why it's in there, kind of redundancy, 3 CMC, but this one can get a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit nicer to have in this deck. This was one of my favorites. I pulled this from a pack. 2 of them, actually, back-to-back packs. It was insanity. But this card is incredible. 3 black, 1 colorless. It's a vampire demon flying. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Insane combo off. I mean, it's crazy what that thing will do. Angie, Maid of Dishonor. Whenever Angie, Maid of Dishonor and or 1 or more other vampires enter the battlefield under my control, I get to create a blood token. I can sack these blood tokens for life gain and stuff like that. Camber, the Plunderer. I don't have the partner in this deck. I did for a while. This deck is more swamp than it is mountain now, more black than red. But this one was good enough to keep in the deck and on rhythm with what I need to do. Nirkana Ravager, or Revenant. Whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add an additional mana, which is, it's nice if I can't get him off fast enough, or I need additional mana throughout here, stuff like that, or late game when this does come out and I have big spells and lots of things I'm trying to cast, heavy enchantments, things like that. Being able to get the additional swamp is definitely helpful. Olivia, Crimson Bride. Love this card. Flying haste. Whenever Olivia, Crimson Bride attacks, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains when you don't control a legendary vampire, exile that creature. And there's a lot of legendary vampires in the deck, so I'm going to get to keep them a lot of times. I do have some defensive spells, as you'll see here in a little bit, to help keep some of this stuff on the board, because it is, despite the commander, it is a very powerful deck. Evereth, awesome card. Sacrificing another creature or artifact. Put a 1/1 counter on Evereth, and then whenever Evereth dies, you may pay 1 in a black or red. When you do, Evereth deals damage equal to its power to each opponent, which is insane. There's not a lot of sacrifice in the deck, but there is some, and you'll see as we get further. I mean, the blood token sacrifice alone goes crazy with that. But there's not a lot of creature sacrifice. Anyway, Veto, Throne of the Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses this much life. And here you go. This is one of the few without flying in the deck, but I couldn't pass that top text up. Or this here. Creatures you control gain lifelink. Creatures, all of them. All my vampires gain lifelink. That's insane. Kalidas. So this one is 3 black, tap, destroy target creature. If that creature is put into a graveyard this way, put a black vampire creature token onto the battlefield. Its power is equal to the creature's power. It's insane. It's cool. It's a fun card. Right here, Crossway Troublemakers, another attacking vampires you control have Death Touch and Lifelink. Really get that Lifelink thing going. Death Touch for prevention. You know, people don't want to lose their stuff, so they're going to try not to block if they can help it. Butcher of Malachor, one of my favorites. Came in the deck itself. You see with the Crimson Vow set symbol flying. Whenever Butcher of Malachor or another target creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Right here. And this flying tap, put a 2/2 black vampire creature, which is cool. For 1, you can transform him. So when you do, this is what you'll get. Flying. Other vampire creature you control get +2/+2. Tap. Put a black vampire creature token onto the battlefield. So it's a nice little double-sider. Get you some extra stuff going on. Right here. Twilight Prophet. I remember when I played this, I kept forgetting about the Ascend trigger. The first game or two this card was in, missing out on some of the stuff down here, but now I've gotten it on. There's a lot of different triggers in this deck. I like to expand my triggers, even though, you know, a better, more fine-tuned deck is going to have a lot of things doing similar things or the same thing, but I like throwing people off. It's funny. Oh, look at that. Our first solid red. Scion of Opulence. Whenever Scion of Opulence or another creature, non-token vampire you control dies, create a treasure token. I don't know if I'll keep Scion in there. I do like the treasure token out of it. I can pay 1, sacrifice 2 artifacts, exile the top card of your library. The card draw is nice with the exiling, but there's definitely better red cards that I can have in here than that. But that's still really good, really fun. Necropolis Regent, very expensive CMC with 6. There's higher ones, but flying. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many 1/1 counters on it. See the sub theme now. Henrika. This is another transforming flying at the beginning of your on your turn. Choose one that hasn't been chosen, so each player can sacrifice a creature. You can draw a card, lose a life, and then transform Henrika. Boop. There we go. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. And then for 3, each creature you control with flying, Death Touch, and or Lifelink gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And most of the creatures in the deck have at least one of those keywords, if not all 3 or 2 of the 3. This is the first proxy of the deck. Bloodthirsty Conqueror, Vampire Knight, flying, Death Touch. Whenever an opponent loses life, I gain that much life. I know some of you are going to be hating on the proxy, but it is what it is. Olivia's Attendance, Menace. I like the Menace mechanic, because go to attack, they have to block with at least 2 to be able to stop the attack. But whenever it deals combat damage, create that many blood tokens. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then Drana, love the art here. I've considered doing my best to switch as many of these out as I can with the full arts, because this is my pet deck. I love this deck so much. It got me into Rakdos and then into, black, red, white. Flying, whenever Drana, the last bloodstream attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that card to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. And then you gotta have OG Olivia in there for sure. She can turn things into vampires, and I could take them, which is funny. And then the only planeswalker of the deck. There are a few other Sorens I'm thinking and considering putting in, but this one's a fun one. It comes out with 4 uptick. Target creature you control gains Death Touch and Lifelink, which is one of the things I need. Uptick here. You may sacrifice a vampire. When you do, Sorin deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life, you gain 3 life. Or -3, you may put a vampire creature card from your graveyard or from your hand onto the battlefield. So another cheat aspect. And then the last creature, Anawan. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. That should pretty much, any vampire tribal deck should definitely have that card in it, or something similar to it. Because if you're running just vampires, chances are the people you're playing are going to try to defeat your vampires with something else that has flying, like dragons, birds now, which are a big thing. Fairies. There's so many other things that have flying too. But yeah, so that's part 1 and the creatures.